is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is the Players Lounge, broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now your hosts, Barry Church, Danny McCray, and Newy Scruggs.
It is that time. We thank you all for tuning in to this championship edition of the Players Lounge. Barry Church is off, so Cowboy staffer Ben Bullck is in.
What's good, y'all?
Mega Sci-Fi Dog Team is in the house. LSU national champion Danny McCray is in the house, a former championship player for the Tigers himself. He's here. I am Newy Scruggs, like Ben Dog Team makes high-fi. Yes, Purple and gold.
Mm-hmm.
All right, listen,
Repping LSU today,
that's all right.
too.
I'm not gonna do like Boosie.
So,
I'm not gonna boost.
We are champions.
Thank you.
Nah, I'm not gonna go buy an Omega sweater out the store.
Come on, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't start, bro.
I was looking for some purpose. I'm not gonna do like Boosie.
Yeah.
I love Boosie though.
Yeah, but he know where to stop.
Huh?
He know where to stop.
Boosie not worried about you. Boosie said he gonna start his own step team.
Yeah,
the Boosie Steppers. That's what he gonna
And get paid from Cap Alpha side.
Yeah, good for him. He and the Noops can go do all they want to do. All right, so we've got a lot of Cowboy issues to get to. The coaching staff, so there are lots of things there. Kellen Moore is going to be the play caller. But before I do that, I will allow Danny to have his triumphant run. First thing I want, are you broke? Because I saw the itinerary that you were posting on social media about all the spots you were hitting. I saw you ate at Drag. I mean, they should know you by name at Dragos. You might be able to go back and cook the meal. You were there so much. So go ahead, tell me the whole experience of being in New Orleans where LSU has won another national championship. Correct me if I'm wrong. Haven't they won all four in New Orleans?
I know 3 for sure.
Yes, all 4.
All 4.
Yeah.
I know I've been there for 2 now, and the atmosphere this time was much more intense and amazing than the first time I won it. I think the excitement around the team and Joe Burrow and all our number 1 receivers and 1,000-yard running back, that was all that. I think it showed up. And respect to Clemson. They had a lot of fans out there in New Orleans. It was a lot of orange out there.
You can see there was a lot of
orange out there, and they tried their best to hang with the Baton Rouge and LSU folks. They didn't know how to handle New Orleans. I saw a lot of orange sleep out there on Bourbon Street throughout the weekend. And we saw it at the end of the
They weren't about that life?
They wasn't about that life, man. They wasn't about that life. They tried. They had their own little balcony on one half of Bourbon Street, and I saw them, and it just didn't look the same. It didn't look the same.
Well, it is definitely one of those situations where when you go to New Orleans, there is a difference between the natives and the visitors. I know I've been there myself, when you're trying to get the lay of the land and understand everything, but there's a difference between those who know, they know.
Absolutely. Definitely. They know when the horse is getting run down Bourbon Street. They know when to get out the way. They know where to go eat. Yeah. They know how many hand grenades they can have and how many is too much. They know all that, and Clemson didn't. And that's how we came back and beat them, man. I think the fans might have got a little sleepy. They had been in New Orleans too long. Too long, and they died out a little bit, and LSU woke up, and then those LSU fans took over 17-7, and then we scored how many unanswered?
Too many.
Essentially, it was a blowout. Yeah. They almost got put off the sticks, 21.
Well, you could definitely tell the first 2 or 3 drives that they were just off. And that's that layoff. The layoff, to me, it's too long between the semifinal and the championship game. Because to me, that whole first quarter, we didn't see both teams doing what they done all year long, especially with Joe Burrow. They were just off. And then they got toward the end. But that's just my feeling.
So I give you this for them. I think the defensive game plan for Clemson, the way they came out, so how offenses script the first 15 plays, I think that defensive plan was amazing.
They only had one linebacker playing the majority of the first
they ran a 3-1-7. And then, so for LSU, I think what happened was if you go back to Georgia, a lot of those players were out after halftime. If you go to Oklahoma, a lot of those players were out after halftime. And then you got 2 weeks off, and then you come out and you start the game off on your own goal line with these first 15 scripted plays that look crazy that they've never seen before. So they were off. Then they see some stuff that they really have never seen before. Then Joe Brady figures it out. Joe Burrow is on with them. And we just take off. Don't look back.
Honestly, the bigger part of the most important part of the game was at the end of the first half, that last drive. So it was 3rd and 19. It was an incomplete pass, but it was a PI on Clemson. Okay, so it was maybe 30 seconds left. And then later on in the drive, it was another 3rd and 10. That's when they called that draw play to Joe Burrow, and then he got out of bounds. And then the next play, they hit Thaddeus Moss for a touchdown. That completely changed the entire momentum of the game because it went from Clemson getting the ball back and maybe scoring at the end of the first half and then getting the ball back in the second half to being down even more. And then you saw what happened. They were unfortunately unable to recover. And even Dabo said at halftime, he was like, look, it was just a very sloppy end to the first half, and it pretty much cost them.
Listen, they almost came out the gates getting blew out. All right? If we don't have a legal lineman downfield.
Yeah, I forgot about that play.
We got a 40-yard bomb going on. We got 2 drop passes by one from our best receiver, one from Justin. Like he said, we came out slow, but we still come out with a 40-yard pass, and the offensive lineman is a couple yards down the field.
Some RPOs,
bro. Yeah. I mean, that changed it for us.
Well, this is a historic football team. Yeah. LSU defeating 7 teams ranked in the top 10. That's never been done for a national champion. And looking at the game, now that it's over, we go back. I just think about this team had issues in the first quarter, and they still came out and just blew the doors off Clemson in the second half. We're talking about a team that had a 29-game winning streak, a team that had a national championship, that had beaten Alabama. I mean, this was as good an opponent as you were going to face, and they took them apart. That, to me, was very, very impressive about what they did. So congratulations to you guys as LSU alums. And
well, hold on. Let me clarify something real quick. I'm not an alum. This is for Danny. Okay, this is for you, both of y'all. I'm not an alum. I worked there for a year and a half, so I'm an adopted son of LSU.
If we have any LSU fans listening to this, all right? Listen, just a quick story, Newy. My man Ben, I saw him on the show. I was 3 episodes ago, and I wanted to call in because I wanted him to tell y'all his story. He says that Florida is his 1A school, and LSU is his 1B team.
Yeah.
That is not legal in the state of Louisiana.
In the SEC?
Yes.
Can I explain, please?
So East-West team?
Yes, pretty much a rival. We play them every year.
East-West team?
Can I explain?
Please.
Do I have to have the floor?
You got
proceed.
All right. So growing up, I'm 30, about to be 32. So mid-'90s is where I really started watching football. Like Steve Spurrier, liked all the gunslinging that they used to do. Okay. So, but at the same time, I never had a problem with LSU. Never. Always followed.
Well, that's obvious. They're your 1B. All right, my bad. Good.
Let me finish, bro.
Okay.
All right. So then 2016, I had the opportunity to work for LSU. Okay. So once I got the opportunity, and the crazy things coming into it, so when the floods hit in 2016, my boss at the time actually let me get a house, but it got flooded out. So because they were able to do a lot of different things for me, including the head coach for the baseball team, he was able to give me a discounted apartment. So LSU means a lot to me. So that's why they my 1B team.
They mean the B. All right.
They my 1B team.
Hey, man, go find you another.
So why is Florida one?
Because I'm loyal. That's my team. I'm not going to just bump them off.
Because you grew up watching them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Listen, let me tell you something. Keep LSU out of your 1B slot.
Nope. That's my 1B slot.
We are nobody's 1B, Newy. Tell them that. Nobody's 1B. We'll never be.
I'm a grown A man, so they're going to be my 1B team.
It's only one.
I got an 07 polo
it's
shirt.
It's only one.
So who's your SEC edition team? Is it Texas A&M or Mizzou? I mean, who's your
man? They don't even count. Man. They don't belong there.
I mean, you can have 3. You got East team, West team. Got
you may as well.
I don't count them, man.
Okay. All right. Okay. So it's now 10 minutes into the show. We're done.
We're not done because we're done
with LSU.
We gonna go right back to it because somehow you think.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that later. Let us dive into the Cowboys here on the Players Lounge because we have coaching news. Okay, this is something that we wanted at the initial press conference. Head coach Mike McCarthy was not ready to tell us exactly everything he had going on. The staff is pretty much rounded into shape. Let's start with Kellen Moore, who remains on the team, and Mike McCarthy in a one-on-one with the beat writers. Let everyone know something he didn't do with the TV guys last week when I was there. Kellen's going to call plays. Thoughts?
Go ahead, Dan.
I like it. I'm sure he's going to call the plays, but I'm sure Mike is going to have a big say in the plays that are on the sheet. But I don't think Kellen did a bad job last year, minus his fourth down, like gotta have it plays. I thought they were very questionable, but other than that he got guys open. He got guys in positions to make plays, and for the most part, when it was on the line, we just didn't make those plays. Yeah. There were throws that could have been made to guys that were open in coverages and in seams, and we just didn't make those. So I think he called good games. His fourth down gotta have it plays to me were the weak point. Where we saw the out routes that we talked about this whole time with Zeke running 5 yard outs, quarterback keepers by Dak, Coop not being on the field on fourth down. It was consistent all year for that down. But other than that, I think he did well, especially for his first year calling plays.
I think with Kellen, I thought he did a solid job, especially for his first time calling plays on this particular level. I really like the fact that McCarthy is adjusting to him because they're going to keep the same terminology even though they're going to move to a West Coast style offense. So that's the most interesting part to me because I want to see how all that meshes together while McCarthy's trying to blend in while Kellen and Dak and Nuss, those guys try to kind of fit and form together. So I don't mind it, and I think Kellen Moore will do a really solid job. I hope he just builds on and stays consistent with the run going forward.
Yeah, minus the fourth downs.
So one of the things I explain to people is a guy like Mike McCarthy is going to be there basically walking and talking with Kellen throughout the game. As a head coach, there'll come a point in time, let's say it's 3rd and 2. He may tell Kellen, all right, have 2 plays ready to go, meaning he's going to want to go for it on 4th down. I mean, these are things that coaches say. Let's say, for instance, the defense has been on the field a lot. There's going to be a point in time where the head coach will tell the play caller, look, we need to choose some clock here. Let's get some run. So these are the things that a head coach will do. Any head coach worth of salt is going to make sure he's telling his guys what to do. Parcells would do it. Every good head coach is going to say to their offensive and defensive coordinators some things that they want to see in a football game because at the end of the day, it's your football team.
Yeah, and he should.
Yes.
Because we talked about the pressure. The pressure will be on him because the assumption is we have everything in line to make a real run at a Super Bowl, right? So him coming in here and losing would be a real knock on the hire. So he has the responsibility to come in here and win. So for him to put that all in Kellen's hands, I don't think that'll happen. I think, like you said, he'll be in his ear, but I think it'll be a little bit more than, 3rd and 2. We might go for it on 4th. I think that scheme is going to be a mix of McCarthy and what he figured out in the offseason and the year that he was off, and Kellen and what he did last season.
All right, Danny McCray, help me and our Cowboy fans out there listening understand why Doug Nussmeier becomes quarterback coach and John Kitna was let go.
You know what? Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I really would say that I love Kitna. I thought he was a good coach. Was he a Jason Garrett guy? Is this like a cleansing of most of the people that were here that were under Jason Garrett? Because I thought that John Kitna did a great job with Dak, minus some of the throws and being behind late in early in games and him having to throw 50 and 60 times. I think his progression under John Kitna was there. I think he was getting better. But John Kitna did play for Jason Garrett, and then he coached for Jason Garrett. And we're seeing a lot of guys that coach for Jason Garrett off this roster.
With the exception of Kellen Moore.
But stay here with that. John Kitna played for Mike Holmgren.
He did.
And so understanding a West Coast offense and what they do, Kit has an understanding. So anyway, this is...
It's the connection. It could be the connection.
And this is interesting. So Doug Nussmeier goes from coaching tight ends to coaching quarterbacks. Tight end coach is a guy, Lunda Wells, I'm not familiar with. So
I know Lunda, man. Lunda was at LSU when I was at LSU. Okay. And then my rookie year, I believe he went to the Giants, and he was like the quality control guy. Okay. And he's just been kind of moving up in the rankings. So when I knew him, he was Lunda, right? He was kind of a GA and all that stuff. So just to see that he's gone from that to now being the tight ends coach, and he had been coaching in New York for a while. So apparently he's doing something right. So I know him personally. As far as what he's done in the coaching realm, I'm not entirely sure, but somebody likes him.
All right, let's speak of a guy you also know who's now going to be on the staff. Skip Peete. Skip Peete was with the Rams. Yeah. Skip was here earlier in his tenure, and he worked with Jason Garrett, but he was here beforehand. Mm-hmm. I'd go back to Skip, back to his UCLA days when I worked out in Los Angeles, and knowing Skippy and his brother Rodney Peete, who used to be a Dallas Cowboys quarterback. So the Peete family, the Peete family has a connection with the Cowboys. I think this is a good hire. Now, Stan Drayton was a name that was connected with this job, running backs coach, run game coordinator at Texas. Mm-hmm. He was making $540,000. A lot more than what they paid Gary Brown. $200,000 more, basically. From what I was told, $200,000 more. I'm sorry, you're not taking a $200,000 pay cut.
Nah.
You can like the Cowboys all day long, but you don't love them that much.
We was talking about this before we got on air about Skip Peete, and he was here my rookie year. And he would really, because I'm on defense, so he really took it upon himself to reach out to me in church and sit us down and talk to us as men before each game, probably like an hour and a half, 2-hour conversation.
Which is wild because y'all on the other side of the ball.
We were on the other side of the ball. But he saw us as young guys. Yeah. We were undrafted free agents, so he told us what we needed to do to continue to stay on the team, what we needed to do to have careers, what we need to do to be good men. He continued to do that his whole entire time here. I love Skip Peete, so I think it's a great hire. I love GB. If I had to choose between the two, it would be super difficult, but I don't think we lose anything here. As a matter of fact, I think we probably gain a little bit, especially with history and experience.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, McCarthy and Skip actually worked together at Pitt, so that's where that connection kind of comes together. And I think with Skip coming here, him working with Gurley before and kind of having familiarity of what the Dallas Cowboys organizations and what the expectations are, I think it's a really good fit. And like you said, we both wish nothing but the best for GB. He's a great dude. I got to work with him a couple of times on a couple of things, but I think the addition of Skip Peete is going to be really good to this team.
One of the things that really bodes well for Skippy that I go back to, Skip was in Oakland, and they had Garner and I think Wheatley might have been the big back, but
Tyron Wheatley.
Yeah, they had that. One of the things they had was that ability, a big back and a shifty back. So they had kind of a two, and Rich Gannon was very well in terms of mixing that run pass play. So when they got here, they had Marion Barber, and then when they had number one pick, they ended up drafting Felix Jones, and they were trying to get that kind of balance back.
That same year,
and that was the three running backs. But to me, it just kind of, I think of what they did in Oakland and had a lot of success. So you got Zeke, the bigger back, and then you got Tony Pollard coming in here. So Skippy is going to be able to really, work with Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy, a vision of how to really get those guys going. So I think they made a good call there. Linebacker coach is going to be Scott McCurley. He knows Mike McCarthy. They work together. Jeff Blasco is going to be the assistant offensive line coach to Joe Philbin. Mm-hmm. So Philbin and Blasco are people that also have worked with Mike McCarthy. Mike Woysick, no longer the strength coach. He is going to retire there. So this is kind of, and Mike Nolan is going to keep the 4-3 defense. I don't know if they'll eventually switch it, because we saw when Bill Parcells came in here, they stayed with 3-4 and eventually went 4-3, then eventually switched to a 3-4, because they're definitely different types of players and pieces you use in that defense. So I'll be very interested to see by year 2 or 3 what they do defensively if they try and change them.
You've got Tom Sula too.
Yes, Jim Tom Sula, defensive line coach, a very respected defensive line coach. So we're still kind of waiting on Leon Lett to see if Leon Lett may have some type
Big Cat
of role.
come back, man.
Yeah, we love Big Cat. Like you were saying about the defense, I'm not even sure it'll take 2 years to figure out if you want to switch to the 3-4. I think we got some good outside linebacker type guys that can rush. It depends on what you do on the other side with him, what you do with your 3 technique or your nose, whoever going to be that 2-gap guy. But it could change sooner than we possibly expect, depending on the draft and who we pick up.
Maurice Linguist, by the way, leaving Texas A&M, local guy to come coach.
He's also our frat brother too, Newy.
Really?
Yes, he is.
Well, congratulations to y'all. Congratulations to y'all.
You want a champion in here. You want somebody that understands manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. And this is a fantastic move by Mike McCarthy.
He said champion. I what we just talk about for the first 10 minutes of the show?
Hey, this is what I really like, though, but that McCarthy has done. He's brought in like 3 or 4 former head coaches. So he's going to have some leadership across his entire coaching staff. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not, but I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how that works.
I mean, I like that.
Yeah, no,
it creates conversation in the room. That's why
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. How it pertains to how the coaching styles and how they run it and the hierarchy of who gets to say what and how serious they take each conversation. I'm not sure. Right. How that works. I think he's doing a good job of bringing in guys with experience. Yeah, guys that he's comfortable with and that he knows, as we talked about previously. I mean, look,
Jason Garrett had Paul Pasqualoni here. He had Rod Marinelli here. You're talking about two guys who are former head coaches. So it's one that you can use it to say this helps, but we've also seen it was here and it didn't produce the results that people wanted. So it all this is all about Mike and how he uses guys and basically to me how he gets guys to buy in. But the coaching staff, a lot of it is what he wants, and I think that's important because the last time we saw a coach really come in here and put his input on the staff was Bill Parcells, and I think that resulted in 8. I want to say it was 8 head coaches that came out of that from the NFL major college level. So that's the hope that maybe one day you're talking about some of these guys becoming head coaches and doing their thing.
And we glossed over a little bit. I do want to just give a proper shout out and congratulations on retirement to Coach Voicy because he's been in the game for a long
6 rings.
Time.
6 rings.
He's been on there for a long time. He has a lot of success, a lot of experience, and I wish him nothing but the best. He's been nothing but great to me. We still can talk and text and go eat crawfish and do all that good stuff. Boy? Huh? No, he loves some crawfish.
Never had
he loves some crawfish though. Of course you haven't. Of course you have. This guy, he don't like.
He gonna have a crawfish broil at his crib.
You're right. I will. You're right. I will. Come June.
We crashing it. Me and you.
Nah, first of all, we gotta go. We got a deal. We gotta handle first. We got to make it to Papa those first. Ooh. But then after that, Newy, you welcome to come to any crawfish boil that I have in my house, and I will make any additions to the pot that you want. You want some green beans boiled in the crawfish season? I got you. You want some mushrooms? I got you. You want some turkey necks? I got you. Whatever you want in there. Corn, I got you.
That corn on the car.
It's gonna be nice and soaked too.
Yeah.
Okay. We're good.
We good.
We have to take a break here on the Players Lounge. When we come back, a couple of other issues we got to get to. Drew Pearson does not get in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Cliff Harris does. We've got to get into the Aaron Hernandez Netflix series that if you haven't, I won't give it all away, but we'll dive into that because it's pretty important. And could a championship member of the LSU Tigers be right there for the Cowboys at number 17 in the first round? Let's dive into that next right here on the Players Lounge.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
Right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus.
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store to find out how to get one of our popular smartphones for $0 down. based on GWS 1 score September 2019.
Back to the Players Lounge.
We got 2 breaks or 1?
All right. Ben Bullck,
yes, sir,
filling in for Barry Church here on the Players Lounge. Danny McCray, LSU national champion. I'm Newy Scruggs. All right, tell everybody where they can find you on social media, Danny.
Oh, yeah, on Twitter, you can find me at DannyDMac44. On Instagram, you can find me at Danny_McCray40.
Ben?
And at Ben Bulljive. That's at BenBulljive. That's my childhood nickname, and it's stuck with me since then.
All right, and on...
yeah, I'm sorry, that's Ben Bulljive, BenBulljive.
All right, find me on Twitter at Newy Scruggs. It's NEWYSCRUGGS. It's NEWYSCRUGGS. Facebook page. It is Newy Scruggs Sports. Okay. I want to like Odell Beckham Jr.
Okay.
He makes it hard.
No, man.
He makes it hard
to like OBJ.
Because what reason do you have to give money out on the field while everyone's looking? And I don't know about you, but I've never carried fake money and real money at the same time.
Listen, this is alleged. I will not speak to the possible NCAA violations that happened on the field at that time. But why would you? You crazy excited. He's out of his mind excited. Okay. Let me tell you something. When I got married, everybody at my wedding, when I looked out that crowd, they had better been as excited as OBJ was when he was out there on the field. You better be happy for me. And these things are possible. The dude was experiencing a feeling of nostalgia and excitement that he had never felt before.
Especially after the year he had.
Yeah, he probably just left the casino. He was around all his family, everybody that loved him. He was like, man, you know what? Man, let me share this. In the moment. And it happened. He was celebrating on the field after the game. And if you look at it, I think he gave money to most of the guys who will no longer be at LSU.
So, Ben, do you keep your fake money in your left pocket or right pocket?
Neither. I don't keep cash on me unless I go get a haircut.
Like I said, all this is alleged. I'm not sure what type of notes he had. Maybe they all used.
Then they say he hit the mall cop on the butt. I mean, I saw the video. The mall cop on the butt.
And he was in the band. Arrested. He was in the stands with the band, too.
Yeah, it was a whole lot of look at me.
This is all the stuff. No, but this is, if you watch the games, this is stuff that he's been doing. He got the band to play Nick at the stadium, right? It wasn't a big deal because they was in the Tiger Stadium and they let him do it. You probably just slapped the security guard on the butt. But leave them people alone. Talk about, I see a burn in the carpet. Do you know what just happened for the Tigers? They just won the national championship, best college football team in the history of the game. You gonna stop them from smoking cigars? The whole video of Joe walking through with a cigar in his mouth.
This is on the couch.
This is customary. Look, leave them dudes alone.
I'm not worried about the burn on the couch because it's kind of like what happens when the WWE comes to town. They tear up locker rooms. They create damage and then they write you a check out the door. We'll fix it. I'm not worried about that.
So tell that dude leave him alone.
But the look at me aspect of Odell, I just, man, let these kids have their moment.
I just don't feel like it was a look at me thing. Those dudes are excited to see him that excited. You think those dudes don't look up to Odell? You don't think he talked to them and they friend? They want to see that he has genuine excitement for them experiencing and accomplishing what they did. And he showed that, and it was genuine. I don't think it was like, yeah, I'm going to do this so I can get on camera. The dude don't want to get an arrest warrant. I promise you that. He was having a good time. I can promise you, just like a lot of the fans that were there, he had been having a good time all day, probably all weekend. I saw him in the suite. They all had a good time. I think it was unlimited everything in there. And he got on the field, and he was just in that state of mind where it was, Ben, like, man, let's celebrate.
Ben, I really think that if Odell is arrested, the lawyer needs to be
Danny right here.
You need to
step
go.
in. You'll be his counsel.
Excellent.
I'll take a phone. Come on, bro. Man, come on. Get out of here, man. You get out of the winning. Go to Clemson locker room and do that.
this is a powerful defense.
Go to Clemson's locker room and do they come in there being all say he shouldn't have did it. You should have asked for an apology or something. You want to try to send the man to jail? You want to stain his record for the rest of his life? The man don't have no arrest on his record. This is the arrest that you want him to have on there for his. Yeah. I'm glad he rich because I would say he can't get no job because he got a simple battery misdemeanor for slap. Right. Come on, man.
I just know from my perspective, man, just kind of being around LSU when I worked there, Odell came to the game a couple times in spring games. He's always in the locker room. He's always on the sideline doing pretty much what we saw.
He's that guy. That's him.
But the guys enjoy that though. Like they vibe on him. But
Craig Stelz broke the huddle
on DBU.
And did in the DB circle. Mm-hmm. Ryan Clark is out there on the sideline. Those things are encouraged by Edo.
Booger's walking out there with the team.
I'm saying no, but I promise you, I have emails from our university. Ed Ogeron, when he got the head job, his goal was to get all of the alumni.
Family back together.
Yes, and he wants you on the field. He wants you talking to the guys. He wants you coming in the locker room, coming in the meeting rooms, and sitting there telling your story about what it takes to win. And it's showing on the field. Odell is the one because he's the biggest star at the game, getting seen doing the crazy stuff.
Was down there too.
Ultimately,
Odell's a bigger star as far as public figure.
Ultimately, I know this. Not a judge around that's going to sit around here in Louisiana and throw an LSU legend like Odell Beckham Jr. in jail for the euphoria of the national championship.
Thank you. Thank you, Newy. Thank you. I appreciate that you recognize.
Don't you like how I took it around the world?
I appreciate you recognize that he was really – because, listen, I was in a place one time, and I won't say where I was at. It was an office, not this office. Mm-hmm. And I think Odell had just gotten paid. And I'm sitting here, and in the next cubby hole next to me, I hear these guys talking. They're like, why is Sterling Shepard acting like he's so excited, all this other stuff? I said, because he's genuinely happy for his boy. He's not showing off for himself like, oh, I'm happy, like, pay me. He's happy for the guy, and they couldn't understand that this guy was really happy for his friend finally getting paid. And I was like, come on, bro. Come on. He can experience the same euphoria of his friend making it, you know what I'm saying, accomplishing what he's been trying to accomplish his entire life. He can feel that excitement as well. That's what Odell felt. Shout out to you, OBJ, man. Do your thing.
Speaking of accomplishment, Wednesday, I got up at 4:05 in the morning so I could get over to Drew Pearson's house. Drew was having the media over because they were announcing the 10-person senior class of players that were going to get into the Centennial class for the 2020 Pro Football Hall of Fame. I am a guy that loves the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I love football and football history. I had studied the 10 finalist lists, and I had told myself, they'll put 2 receivers in. One receiver to get in was Max Speedy for sure. Max Speedy was a guy who, when you look at being overlooked, his accomplishments as a receiver for the Browns, this guy needed to be in. So I thought Speedy was 1. I thought for sure Drew Pearson was number 2. The 1970s, all decade, 1970s first team, there were 2 players on offense and defense not in. It was Drew Pearson and Cliff Harris. I mean, they put the punter in, man, okay? Like, they're going to correct the wrong. That didn't happen. We watched for 3 hours because they said the show would start at 6 a.m. in the NFL Network Good Morning Football show. So we're there.
That's tough.
For 6 hours. Drew had put out champagne. This hat that I have on my head, this is one of the hats that he passed out. He had passed out T-shirts. His grandkids were there. His kids were there. His close friends, his business partners. We were expecting a celebration and a party. I told Drew. I worked with Drew Pearson for 13 years.
Right.
Okay? We worked on TV together at NBC5 here in Dallas. I cannot tell you the many nights I spoke with Drew. This was before he even got in the Cowboys Ring of Honor. I was like, it's going to happen, man. It's going to happen. And today is your day. There's no way. I said I looked at the 4 receivers. All right, hey, Max Speedy's got a case. Cliff Branch, Oakland Raiders, good player. You know, worthy.
Not Drew.
But he was never on a first or second team, all-decade team. Harold Carmichael. Hey, man, really? Never won a Super Bowl. He was second team to you. I said, Drew, it's you. We all thought that. In fact, there were people telling him that who were close to the situation.
Wow.
For 3 hours, we sat there. We waited. I was alerted midway through that Cliff Harris had got in. Keep in mind, Jimmy Johnson had got in that Sunday. Now Cliff is in. It's a total of 15 that were going in. 10 players, the contributors, and then the coaches. No way they were getting 3 Cowboys in. Talked to Rick Gosselin, Pro Football Hall of Fame voter. He said, look, they're not going to keep 3. They'll probably get 2. Jimmy was already in on Sunday. I get the call that, hey, Cliff is getting in. This was before the broadcast.
So at that point, you knew it was either Cliff or Drew.
I knew Drew wasn't getting in because Jimmy was already in. That's one.
I'm saying before. Yeah. So when they said we're not letting 3 in, and you're like, well, now we heard it's going to be 2. So at this point, it's got to be out of these 2. Well,
and take it back to the broadcast. The third name they called was Harold Carmichael, and I said to myself, oh, they're going to put 3 receivers in. That was my initial thought. Right. Can't put in Harold and not put in Drew. That was my thought. I thought getting 3. But then when I got notified about Cliff, it was like, oh. And so Drew is crossing off the names. He knows how many to go, 6 to go. I mean, we're doing this over 3 hours.
Yeah.
And if you watched the show, you knew that David Baker had either called people or surprised people. There was never a phone call in 3 hours. And it didn't happen. And when they called Max Speedy, that was number 10. And that's the video that I had on Twitter. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Newy Scruggs, Newy Scruggs. You just see Drew's head drops.
It broke my heart.
He's rubbing his head. He gets up. He walks out. Now, he's wearing microphones from all 4 Dallas TV stations. Dallas-Fort Worth TV stations. And he leaves the room. So we can hear it. Leaves, he goes in his office, curses. He's mad. He cries. We didn't put that video on. It wasn't fair. He left the room for a reason.
That's respectful.
And all of us know him, have covered him. So this was a friend. This is someone who we all respected. And keep in mind, for a guy like me, I grew up watching him. I got introduced to Cowboy football, Staubach, Pearson, Harvey Martin, Ed Jones. I was living in Savannah, Georgia, and I was the big Cowboy fan. I was the guy who wore the blue jersey to school. This is before they really sold. It was the JCP. But I got the blue because, you know what? I wanted to show you that I was that bigger Cowboy fan than you. I had the Cowboy raincoat, the Cowboy lunchbox.
It was like the new Jays.
Oh, yeah.
The old school leather jacket that had the silver Cowboy sleeves on it, man. I had a Cowboy pencil, man. I would trade you 3
pencil?
Yes. Back when they had these old school NFL pencils, I would trade you 5 pencils for your 1 Cowboy pencil in class. I mean, I was that guy. I mean, I wanted to be a sportscaster since I was in the 5th grade and 11 years old. Guys like Drew, that was my team. That was what I lived. I loved Cowboy football. I had a Cowboy backpack. So this was personal. I remember when I was living in Savannah, Georgia, my dad was stationed at Hunt Army Airfield. It was a playoff game. They're playing the Atlanta Falcons. So I got all these Falcon fans around me, and the Cowboys are losing at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, and it is Danny White to Drew Pearson. They win this thing. I'm in school. I am worse than Danny McCray. Okay?
No, you're worse than OBJ.
Yes.
You probably was slapping everybody.
I have fake money.
They're throwing it out.
I came to school and I was giving it to everybody. And when the catch happened, I cried. I ain't gonna lie to you. I cried.
So he understands this.
The first time I ever met Dennis Thurman was at USC when he was assistant coach. And I said, hey, man, I just want to let you know, I watched you, man. I watched you. Said the catch happened, I cried. And Dennis looked at me and said, you cried. You.
Did y'all cry again?
I cried. Didn't, but you know what?
Close. You could have.
We could have. We could have shared a moment. And it's one of those solidarity things. Like there's things that have happened in LSU football that you know whether or not there's a real connection there, if you're a real fan. People can talk about being a fan, but there's these moments that you know I can touch it. That's a Cowboy moment. When you saw the catch, how did it affect you? Tears for me. Drew was on the Cowboys Super Bowl 12 winning team. He was on Super Bowl 13. And I tell people this all the time, and I truly believe it at the bottom of my heart because I've talked to too many Cowboys who were on that team and played in that game. When they lost Super Bowl 13 to the Steelers in Miami, they lost gold jackets. If the Cowboys win Super Bowl 13, they are back-to-back world champions, the first NFL team to win 3 Super Bowls. That didn't happen. That day, the Steelers got the jackets. The Cowboys lost jackets. And Drew Pearson doesn't get in. He's embarrassed. He's mad. He's frustrated. He doesn't understand. And now he becomes the only man on the 1970s all-decade team not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Why do you think he's not in, Newy?
I go back to what I was told by Shereen Williams and Rick Goslin, 2 Hall of Fame voters, and they're also in the Hall of Fame as media members. They were not putting 3 Cowboys in. And if you look at that whole list, the Centennial class, nobody's got more than 2, no franchise. And you got certain franchises like the Denver Broncos who didn't even get anybody in. They thought Randy Gradishar should have got in.
So next year is the year?
I can't say that. Come August, you hope that the seniors committee considers him. One of the things that I was told is that they'll try and take the 10 guys who did not get in this class and try and put them at the forefront for the seniors committee because there's only going to be 2 that get voted in the class of 2021.
So tell me this, is there a point where you would get the feeling that he won't get in?
Drew is getting in. It's not a matter of if, okay?
When.
If you're a Cowboy fan, it is a matter of when. Based on the very criteria that the Hall of Fame voters have put out, Drew is there. You go back to the 1930s, and we're talking all-decade first team, wide receivers since the 1930s. There are 18. All 18, I should say 17 of the 18 are in. Drew's not in. You put in John Stallworth, who was not first or second team. You put him in the Hall of Fame. You put in the 2 second-team receivers from the 70s, Paul Warfield and Harold Carmichael. You put those guys in.
I guess my question goes to so next year, do you do the same process, right? Or do you do the champagne and you do the
He said on camera, they'll never get me like this again.
Gotcha.
They'll never do this to me.
I'm sorry. I don't want to. None of us want to see him that upset.
That will not happen.
We don't want to see that.
There will be maybe 1 camera in there.
It'll be y'all.
Yeah. If there's a camera, it'll be me.
Yeah.
In NFL films. That'll be it.
Perfect. We don't, it was. I don't even know him personally. I sat down and did an event with him maybe 3 or 4 months ago. Yeah. Great guy. I've seen him in passing a lot. He always stops and talks, always upbeat. And just to see a person like that in that type of vulnerable moment and be that upset was upsetting to me.
I actually got his autograph. I came down here for the Browns game in 2012 as a fan. And I did the whole Cowboy Star thing. And so we did the tailgate right before the game. He was out there. I got his autograph, and I got a photo with him. So
I choked up when I did my 5 p.m. broadcast because I was there. I was right there. But I hadn't seen the video, just kind of really looked at it and just watching the video. And the long hug, his girlfriend sent me a picture of us hugging because at that point in time, you know your friend is down.
Right.
And I was recently in church, and pastor said that what we have to do in community is carry the burdens, of our true friends. That their pain is your pain, and so at that moment, that's what I was trying to do for my friend. Yes, I'm doing a job, but this is still my friend.
Right.
And I tried to carry it as much as I could, but to talk about the 13 years of these conversations, and believe me, man, there were times where he just didn't think it was going to happen. And I always was, it's going to happen. And this was even the Ring of Honor where he didn't think it was going to happen, like, it's going to happen. And to see one, and I thought we were going to get the second one. It hit me and it hurt because I felt like I let him down. I felt like people in the Hall of Fame, that by their own criteria, that you let this man down.
Right.
So for a while it was tough. But I bounced back, and I've told him, I said 2021. So for those who are Drew Pearson fans, I would tell you, let's see what happens in August when they get that list together. And when the list comes together, then we have the opportunity to try and really kind of push this story out here one more time. And above all, let us not forget Captain Crash finally gets his bust. I mean, you're going to tell me you're going to have an all 1970s first all-decade team and Cliff is your safety and you don't put him there? He played in 5 Super Bowls. He won 2 of them. I mean, hello?
Yeah, put him in.
Hello? So Cliff is there and he gets his spot. And he was emotional on the phone call with David Baker. He earned his spot.
The most emotional was that Jimmy G.
Cliff was crying too.
I thought Jimmy G was about to pass out. It was like
Jimmy Johnson is sitting there, and I think Jimmy was in some ways, and this is what happens to some of the guys who get passed over enough, or Terrell Davis, friend of mine. The thought was I didn't have enough years to qualify, and that so many people used Miami against Jimmy. This is where having Gil Brandt, Bill Belichick helped, because they understood this man, don't look at him as just a coach.
Look at what he did.
Look at the architect of what he was able to do. He didn't win the third, but the fingerprints are all over.
Right.
And if you start to look at, and I go back to just the 50s, when you think about the dominant teams of each decade, the person who was there helping as an architect was put in. Paul Brown, Cleveland Browns in the 50s, 60s, Vince Lombardi. 70s, you've got head coach Chuck Noll. You've got Dan Rooney in the Hall of Fame, architects of how that team was built. 70s, Chuck Noll, but then you go into the 80s, it's Bill Walsh in the 49ers. He was the head coach, but he's also the GM.
Don't forget Landry.
But just in terms of just guys in there, Landry was, believe it or not, Landry was not first or second team head coach all 1970s.
Wow.
Chuck Noll was second team head coach. Don Shula was first team. But
was
even
it a
Landry.
perfect season?
Yeah, but just so team of the 70s, Steelers. Team of the 80s, it's the 49ers. Team of the 90s is Jimmy. Who in the same sense was just like Bill Walsh, coach architect. They were not going to let that pass. So Jimmy was getting in. And so Jimmy and Cliff Harris get in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, deserved spots that they get there. The 2000s is Belichick, and Belichick will get in as well. So they honored that and what happened there. So for the Drew Pearson fans, next time you see him, because we see Drew all the time at events, give him a hug.
Good dude, man.
Give the man a hug and just tell him it's coming. Because we know it's coming. It's just a matter of when. He talked about being 69 years old, and he doesn't want to be up there drinking a straw and have to have somebody else give a speech.
Right.
Because I've seen that at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Or, God forbid, it ends up like Kenny Stabler. They want to put Kenny Stabler in after he's dead. And the snake deserved his spot. So let's hope.
Still look good to be 69.
Yes,
man.
he does.
Yeah.
So let's hope 2021 is it. All right, we've taken another break here. There is an LSU Tiger that could be a Dallas Cowboy, first-round pick. Let's dive into that. And the Houston Astros, Danny's team cheating like crazy.
No.
And Aaron Hernandez, what an interesting Netflix documentary. Let's touch on those topics next here on the Players Lounge.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys and your favorite football team. Get yours today in the Stadium Pro Shop or at Stetson.com.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
Right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor,
A
Angus.
deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store to find out how to get one of our popular smartphones for $0 down. Based on GWS One score, September 2019.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
So, you're shopping, and that's when you see it. Aisle 23. Dr. Pepper stacked from top to bottom as far as the eye can see. The phrase too good to be true comes to mind, yet there it is. A rich, delicious Dr. Pepper paradise. Wait, did that can of Dr. Pepper just open itself for you? They all are. As if to say, so nice to treat you. And even though it feels weird to talk to a can, you pick one up and say, it's so nice to be treated. Dr. Pepper, so nice to treat you.
Back to the Players Lounge.
Check us out on the Players Lounge.
Players Lounge. Winding it down here. DallasCowboys.com. We appreciate you tuning us in. Danny McCray, LSU National Champion, Ben Bullck.
Yes, sir.
Worked at LSU.
1B.
LSU's his side piece. Florida is his main squeeze.
Yeah.
LSU.
Man, if you on
wife,
Twitter,
your girlfriend, or just your main chick.
If you watching this and you on Twitter, please let us know what you think about this LSU being 1B. And I'm saying 1B
the
equals
LSU
number 2.
folks who I work with, they cool with what
I'm talking about the listeners on this Cowboys podcast.
Appreciate y'all, man. But the LSU folks who I work with, they understood.
Yeah, because they probably got 1Bs too.
No, they don't. It's all because everybody who worked at LSU went to LSU.
Yeah, side piece. Okay, Netflix. You're always telling me what to watch on TV.
And the first thing you sat down and watched was Aaron Hernandez.
Actually, I had enough people hit me up about it and just said, wow. Okay, all right. I checked it out. I'm on episode 2.
I have not started, so don't ruin it.
I got through half of episode 1.
Okay. Wow. That's all I'm going to tell you. Wow.
Wow, it was put together that well? Or wow,
yes.
Aaron Hernandez was
probably everything.
Yes, put together that well. What a challenged life he had, and what a sloppy crime. Okay, slop. Do you ever see
already in episode 1?
Yeah, I'm in episode 2 now. Do you ever see Carlito's Way?
Yeah,
Al Pacino. I love the scene where after they leave the boat. And Kleinfeld kills the dude, and then Carlito and Kleinfeld are right there, and he's like, "Oh, Dave, you trying to be a gangster?
Yeah,
it ain't nothing you go to school for, and you can't get a late start in life.
Right?
Somebody needed to tell Aaron Hernandez to watch Carlito's Way. Okay, you just
So Aaron Hernandez was Dave. Was it that bad?
Yes.
Because Dave wasn't really a gangster. From what I've heard and passed on was Aaron Hernandez had a little bit of that in him. He didn't.
Mm-hmm. You gotta watch it.
I'm gonna watch it.
There's a difference between you being a football player and you got a short temper and you'll knock some dudes out versus
being
ending
a real life
lives.
killer.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah. There's a big difference. So yes.
So he was the football player with a short temper who tried to be the
Kleinfeld
and the guy
Kleinfeld. You and Carlito. You're Kleinfeld. This is not what football players do. So
wait, one more question. So did he have a Carlito in there? Or did he have a friend that was that guy? Or was he just...
He wasn't even smart enough to have a Carlito.
Okay, all right. I'm going to check it out, man. I'm going to check it out probably on my... I got to wait for the wife to get back because she liked them shows.
And I also say this. I love how the Patriots try to run away from it. Like, really? Urban Meyer, there's too many your Gators. Really? Everybody's trying to run away.
You got to disassociate yourself with something like that, man. You ever be getting them phone calls? Like, you had to know.
Yeah.
It was almost like the president the other day talking about that left part. I don't know him. I don't know him. Or that when Mariah Carey says, I don't know her.
You recruited this dude. Right. You interviewed him, for the league.
Yeah. You know what's crazy about Aaron Hernandez? So when I worked at ESPN, which is obviously in Bristol, is where he's from, I used to get my haircut by his same barber, man.
Trip, man, but watch it. It is definitely good. Let's touch on your Houston Astros, Danny. Your hometown Astros cheaters.
Yes, hometown. Not
you got your buzzer on or no?
No.
No buzzer on.
This is what Newy let me know when the show over with. He
hey, Kyle, buzz this man in, please.
Nah, real talk. So me and Newy discussed this earlier, and I'm still flabbergasted by the fact that these dudes could possibly been out there using Morse code to tell when the fastball and when the curveball was coming.
That's too much, man.
I told Newy if you compare it to football, that's so in the helmet, in the quarterback's helmet, they get a certain amount of time to call the play, and after that, the coach cannot communicate with them anymore. Everything you see on the field has to be them. All the checks they make has to be them, unless they get like a sign from the sideline, right? Yeah. So just imagine them being able to talk to somebody up downstairs in the booth about 3 seconds before they snap the ball saying, hey, this is defense they in, throw it to this person, it will be open because I'm able to see it from up here. That is the level of cheating. The quarterback would complete 90% of his passes if that was the case, right? These guys are doing that in baseball. Morse code?
It's crazy, bro.
The ability to come up with this scheme that they did, and for Alex Cora, bench coach with the Astros in 2017, manager of the Boston Red Sox in 2018, won World Series, both World Series, won over the Dodgers. The legacies that are affected, and I tell people this all the time, I've noticed this about being a sportscaster for over 25 years. Losing affects people. Lives are written and changed when you lose. Ron Washington is looked at differently if Josh Hamilton's home run against the St. Louis Cardinals holds up and they win the World Series. Clayton Kershaw still looked at, well, he can't win the big one. He didn't win twice. Dave Roberts, the manager, gets a beating. Yu Darvish is looked at as, dude, you're a loser. You're a guy who couldn't get it done. Carlos Beltran, by the way, played with Yu Darvish to the Texas Rangers in 2016. He knew a lot about it. So what the Houston Astros have done, and the asterisks and the people who are angry at them. I mean, what about the people who were just along the way sent down to AAA? I mean, there's a lot of guys affected by this cheating scandal. They were 8-1 at home during the playoffs in that 2017 World Series run. You can't tell me. Because baseball's told you these dudes had an edge. They're not taking the trophy, but they're letting you know these dudes had an edge. All right, I want to run out of time here, but I tease it. Let's get to it. Grant Delpit, by the way, is a guy on Dane Brugler, The Athletic, a person I respect very much when it comes to
very knowledgeable.
Yeah, drafting. He thinks Grant Delpit could be there for the Cowboys at 17. Defensive back.
I like it. I think that early in the season, people saw him play a little bit, and they kind of lost a little hope in him for being that number one safety. They kind of lost account of what he did last year. Then you find out that he's been playing hurt and still better than most of the safeties that are out there. And all of a sudden, you see these last 5 or 6 games, and this guy is the guy, right? He's the guy. He drops down to us at 17, and we're able to get him. That's the position that we want. Why not?
Yeah, I like Grant. I know. So when I worked there, he came in as a freshman. Number one, this guy's been a 3-year starter, day one. So he took over for Jamal Adams immediately, day one coming in. And that year they were in the transition year because not only did they lose Jamal Adams, they also lost Tre'Davious White. Right. So Corey Raymond, shout out to Corey Raymond, their DB coach, which I'm pretty sure you're very familiar with.
Best DB
coach there is out there. So number one, he's going to be prepared. He's going to be already ready for the pro level, number one. So I think he will be a great fit here. And just hoping that he'll be able to slide down there and do his thing.
Okay, I'm going to give you a scenario, possible scenario, because we know draft day things happen. If the Jets call you and say, we want a number one, you can have Jamal Adams now. Do you make the trade? And if you really are sold on Delpit, would you give up, let's say, your third rounder to trade up to get him? Because in a passing league, these are two guys. Jamal's proven, but these are two guys can help your football team.
I wouldn't do that.
If you're using the first rounder on Delpit already?
No, I'm just giving you an option.
I'm saying, so okay. if we the Cowboys, we plan to get a safety in the first round, right?
Okay.
And the Jets call me and offer up Jamal for that first round pick, I'll take it.
Okay.
I like
for 17 overall for Jamal. Yeah,
yes,
I'll do that.
I like Jamal is more than proven. That dude's a proven monster, right? He get out there and he changes the game.
And he's
he
a leader
leads.
more than everything.
He's an enforcer on your defense in a passing league. Yes.
Okay.
If that's my trade, I'm taking it.
All right, and I bring good because now I bring up the second part of it. Got to give him a big contract, and you're already looking at handing out contracts. So
be his fourth
possibly.
Year.
So just knowing is kind of like when you make the trade for Jalen Ramsey. You know you're writing the check.
Yeah.
So do you write the check versus possibly having to give up a 3 to move up to get Delpit? Because I'm thinking to myself, if people do their homework, they're going to see this is a guy who should be at 17. Should be a lot higher. So you may have to give up a 3 to move up to get him. And then you also now have some cost control there with your.
We got $80 million on the cap this year. We got $80 million on the cap. We got a lot of stuff to figure out.
You got 40 because Dad's taking that.
These guys have been figuring out ways to get guys paid, and they will figure it out. Right? He will play, then they will figure out what they need to do with him. He's going to be worth the money. Like he's going to be worth whatever you give up for him. He's a monster.
Absolutely. I agree with Danny. I would take the trade and pay that man, seriously, because number one, he's a leader and he's a game changer. Last time we had a game changer at the safety spot, Darren Woodson.
Well, you want 3 levels of defense. Your D-line, well, you got D-Law on one level. You got LV and Jalen Smith you already paid.
Pro Bowler Jalen Smith.
Your Pro Bowler Jalen Smith. Get you a Pro Bowl safety. Get you an All-Pro safety.
All-Pro. Not Pro Bowl.
Yes. All-Pro. Get you an All-Pro safety.
Look, and he's from Hebron, so he's right here. He's from down the road, not far from the star here. So that is the conversation, because the Jets apparently were asking for 2 first round and second. They're not getting all that. They're not going to get all that.
But they was going to get something from him, and the Cowboys going to have to pay that contract anyway. So you may as well go ahead and get it done. He was already willing to do it. But
I think that's a definite conversation I would be having in the room. Delpit, Adams. I think you get one of these two. One of these two, and they'll help.
I wouldn't be mad at Delpit at all, man.
Nah, I wouldn't be mad either.
He's a really good player, young guy, 3-year starter. 3 year, didn't miss a beat. Got hurt a little bit this year, but he did.
You're going to get I shouldn't say you're going to. You should get one of the two. You get one of the two, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, good start. Good start for defense.
Ben Bill,
hey, thank y'all. Appreciate y'all,
sitting
man.
in
Appreciate
here.
You.
Congratulations to your team, 1B.
Boy, y'all never gonna let me down there, huh?
Danny, congratulations.
Go Tigers,
National
baby.
champion, LSU
one.
Tigers. I'm Newy Scruggs. This is the Players Lounge. We'll be back Friday, 11 a.m. Central Time, DallasCowboys.com. Hey, tell some friends to check us out and subscribe to the show on iTunes, all right? Take care, everybody.
All right.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this,